you ever wondered why people sometimes act out of character? Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of social psychology to explore how our actions are shaped not just by who we are, but by the situations we find ourselves in. The power of the situation is a concept that reveals just how much our environment and social context can influence our behavior, often more than our individual personalities. Let's start our journey by understanding what this really means. Psychologists talk about the situation. They're referring to the immediate social environment and context in which behavior occurs. This includes the people around us, the physical setting, and even the cultural expectations at play. Rather than being solely guided by our inner traits, our actions are often a response to these external factors. Understanding this helps us see why people might behave differently in different settings. Some of the most famous psychology experiments, like the Stanford prison experiment and Milgram's obedience study, highlight the power of the situation. In these studies, ordinary people acted in extraordinary ways simply because of the roles they were assigned or the instructions they received. These findings shocked the world and showed that context can override personal morals and values. Authority figures can have a profound impact on our actions. When someone in a position of power gives instructions, we're often inclined to follow, even if it goes against our better judgment. This is not just about obedience, it's about how the presence of authority changes the social situation, making us act in ways we might not otherwise consider. Being part of a group can lead us to conform even if we privately disagree. The desire to fit in and avoid conflict is powerful. Classic studies like Ash's line experiment show that people will often go along with the group, even when the group is clearly wrong. This demonstrates how the social environment can pressure us to change our behavior. The bystander effect is a phenomenon where individuals are less likely to help in an emergency when others are present. The more people there are, the less responsible each person feels. This is a clear example of how the situation, rather than personal willingness, determines whether someone will step in to help. Social norms are unwritten rules about how to behave. They guide our actions in everyday situations, from how we dress to how we greet others. These norms are powerful because they're enforced by the expectations of those around us. Often, we follow them without even realizing it, simply because that's what everyone else is doing. Culture plays a huge role in shaping our behavior. What's considered polite or rude, normal or strange, can vary widely from one culture to another. Our actions are often a reflection of the cultural context we're in, showing that the situation includes not just immediate surroundings but also broader societal influences. Certain situations can trigger specific behaviors. For example, being in a crowded elevator might make us avoid eye contact, while being at a party encourages us to socialize. These triggers show how context can prompt us to act in ways we might not otherwise choose. While personality does play a role in how we behave, research shows that the situation often has a stronger influence. Even people with strong moral values can act out of character if the situation pressures them to do so. This doesn't mean personality doesn't matter, but it highlights the importance of context. Think about how you act at work versus at home, or with friends compared to strangers. The differences in your behavior aren't just about who you are, they're about the expectations and norms of each situation. This everyday experience is a reminder of how much the situation shapes what we do. Our moral choices are also influenced by the situation. Under stress or in a group, people might make decisions they wouldn't make alone. The pressure of the moment, the presence of others, and the context all play a role in shaping our actions, even when it comes to right and wrong. When we see someone act in a certain way, we often attribute their behavior to their personality. But social psychologists remind us to consider the situation. Maybe that person was rude because they were under pressure, or helpful because the environment encouraged it. Looking at context helps us understand others more accurately. We tend to overestimate the role of personality and underestimate the power of the situation when explaining others' actions. This is known as the fundamental attribution error. Recognizing this bias can help us be more empathetic and less judgmental in our daily lives. If situations are so powerful, then changing the environment can change behavior. This is why schools, workplaces, and communities focus on creating positive, supportive settings. By shaping the situation, we can encourage better outcomes for everyone. Peer pressure is a classic example of situational influence. Whether it's trying a new activity or making a risky choice, the presence and opinions of peers can push us to act in ways we might not on our own. This shows just how much the social environment can sway our decisions. Being aware of the power of the situation can help us make better choices. When we recognize how context is influencing us, we can pause and decide if we want to go along or act differently. This awareness is a key step toward personal growth and responsible action. Sometimes, the situation pushes us toward negative behaviors. Learning to resist these pressures takes practice and self-awareness. By understanding the power of the situation, we can develop strategies to stay true to our values even when it's difficult. Knowing how situations influence behavior can help us support others. By creating positive environments and encouraging good choices, we can make it easier for people to act in helpful and kind ways. Small changes in context can have a big impact. Taking time to reflect on why we act the way we do can reveal the influence of the situation. By looking back at our choices, we can see patterns and learn how to respond better in the future. This reflection helps us grow and understand ourselves more deeply. In the end, the power of the situation reminds us that behavior is not just about who we are, but where we are and who we're with. By understanding the influence of context, we can be more compassionate toward others and more intentional in our own actions. The next time you notice someone acting out of character, remember, the situation might be more powerful than you think.